King and Yates, they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life, and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates, after racks. But really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats. Two basketball lovers,
yes, sir. You guys know.
Listen, they bridging the gap. They bridging the gap.
man, shit ain't got serious.
Here we go. What happened? What's wrong, man? What you pointing at? The remote. All right, we can get you the remote. Come on, make an appearance. I'm gonna just put an emoji over your face so they don't know who you are. That's all. BTG Nation, man. What's up, man? We're back here for episode 2, season 4. OG, triple OG over there is giving Snipes the mean mug. You guys don't know Snipes yet. We just giving him a early. I think he did it on purpose too, King. Because I didn't shout him out last episode because I'm trying to wait at least 5 episodes before I let anybody know who the crew is. Because you know we get a new crew every year. You know, Snipes just forced his way onto the TV. I ain't even peep. What he got on right now, King?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out.
Is that the Negro League baseball teams?
But it's football on there too, right?
Is this football? Oh, them the local basketball teams.
Well,
those are local basketball teams in Dubai.
We got a few others founders yet.
Hey, Jim's founders? Okay, see, that's what happened when they let those people get here.
what's this say on the back?
With the football and the basketball, hey.
Hold on, but I don't understand the concept. It's Come on. Step in front of the main camera right here so they can see you, man. Look, check it out. No, not like that. Come a little closer, dog. You gotta come a little closer so they can see the fit. Yeah, give them a little spin around. Yeah, we just trying to figure it out. Look. All right, get out. This day one. We gonna get him right. You got a zipper on the left. Okay.
Listen. This was cool though. I'm glad we documented this because some people don't be knowing how your life changed when you hang around hoopers. And there's some people, some good guys. So you guys got a pic of Snipes, and Snipes is his nickname. You can go Google and see why it is. But we're going to get him right, though. We're going to get him right. OG, how you feeling, man? It's a good day. Weather-wise,
weather-wise, we're getting there. We're getting to the point where we can sit outside and relax. But
yeah.
Busy day, man.
Yeah. Wife and I had a busy day, too. We just got back like a couple hours ago, too.
From where?
We went to go donate some stuff.
Oh, y'all should have been getting back from axe throwing.
No, I didn't tell her yet. You broke it.
Oh man, shut up.
Yeah. We getting there because we got to head to Lane Tuesday because it's Pop's birthday.
Oh really?
Yeah. That's the local way to cheer. You know what I'm saying? Happy birthday, big dog. But yeah, it's been a good day though. It's nice to see people being out. It's Halloween here. I didn't know until I walked into the Festival Plaza Mall and there was bats hanging. There was bats hanging from the roof in the garage.
Right, but it's the same day as ours, right? No,
I don't know, man. But I just
not the same day.
Yeah, also it's like the same. But they started already. It look a little crazy out there. That's all I'm gonna say. There's some things going, but BTG Nation, you know what it is. Hoop Mountain Dubai, Hoop Mountain DXB, Hoop Mountain.AE. We are here live from Dubai, giving you our story, our journey, all that other good stuff. King, you know we gotta set the tone. You got something on your mind?
Yeah, I do. Why is our intro so short now?
Because we got stuff to give.
I'm just saying I love that song.
Yeah. I know. But we got another mix to play. Right. You know we gotta get the people some stuff. So let's I'm gonna get some preference before I drop this one.
Okay.
It's the 50th year of hip hop. 50 years. And so it's a celebratory time. There's a lot of stuff going on around the world. Even here in December, there'll be, Soul DXB will be, I think it's directed by Mass Appeal and Nas. Yeah, so Master Pill and Nas, I think they're the creative directors around this lineup and everything for the 50th year anniversary. So we're going to take it back a little bit this time around. You know, we're going to show some love to a great era, an era that we won't get back again, but one that's underappreciated too. And so without further ado, let's get into the action with the one and the only DJ Lee Bueller.
You are now tuned in to the world's famous Lee Bueller.
Listen, they bridging the gap. They bridging the gap. They.
Let's go, man. Again, another hot. We appreciate it, big dog. We appreciate it every time. We set the tone. What you thinking, King?
Yeah, that was crazy. That just took me back.
Come on. And it's a blend. You know, we talk about it. We talk about it all the time, right? With where hip hop was, where basketball goes, and we always stand on the shoulders of the giants before us. Why was Bow Wow rapping like that? Wow. Think about that during that time. It was Bow Wow, it was Wayne, it was, you know, Cole, all of those guys come off of that era. But who were the guys that were at the top before then? It was the Snoops, it was the Cube, it was KRS, it was all them. So you try to prove yourself to them that you were capable.
So the difference between, I think, those young guys and the young guys now, Bow Wow and them did it for the love of the craft too. You know what I'm saying? Of course, everybody want to get rich, but I'm just saying these dudes love what they do.
Yeah. And they was around those type of influences too that was gonna say, look, you can't be here unless you really know how to put it down. Like you really know. And it sound different. It sound different. Like all those songs y'all heard there for the Young Bucks, those are at least 15 years old.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
15. Yeah. There ain't many artists that got one song in this last 10 years that's gonna go that long. 15. And if you play it later, it's gonna still ring off the same. Like, man. But that's how, you know, players are too, basketball is too. Some of you players are gonna be easily forgotten. You know? But let's get right into it, man. We finished camp too. We finished our skills camp.
Yep.
That was our first skills camp, really, too.
Yep.
We haven't had one like that, and pretty much every camp from now on to be broken down in that way, because we got the demographic, and everybody's learned and picked up on what Hoop Mountain is going to look like. So It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, it of course the camps we've had. Let me give love to our all sports camps. You know, that's our all sports camps. You know, that's something that the kids they don't experience that here. Yeah, and the way we set it up is just completely different. But
I got a feeling that when you get it right, we're gonna get back to it.
Oh yeah, we may.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, that could be actually like a one-day component of our camp, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to get into the gym and just get to the specifics of basketball was great.
Yeah.
It felt like there wasn't one wasted hour this week. You know, no fluff. We went in there, we warmed up a stretch, got right to it. And we know for sure that those kids that showed up left better players.
Yes.
No question.
Yes. It was, and this is one of those moments where as a coach, I'm learning about how much the development of players is on the parents and the kid themselves as well. Yeah. Because there's so much we want to be able to teach them, and we can't. Yeah. We can't because, one, we don't have time. And then there's 15 to 25, sometimes 30 kids that we got to get to. And so we just kind of give you what you need to work on. And hopefully you put in that extra hour because we don't get to see our kids 4 times a week.
Right.
Twice a week if they come twice a week. Some people are just going once. But we know there's kids that need fine-tuning on their shot mechanics or need a little bit more focus on certain things with layups and stuff. But we don't have time to break it down every single time. And we don't have time to do personal training right now. Right. And so this week right here, for some of those kids, they've made strides that nobody that they're playing against is going to be able to compete with.
For sure. They just got to stay consistent.
Yep.
You know, so the 3 things we need everybody to understand is, 1, we need a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a foundation when you arrive, we can build on that.
Yep.
2, we need reinforcement. Whatever you hear us say and show your kids at practice, you got to reinforce that over and over again. And third is you got to remember that we're giving your kid tools to survive. To survive. And that's not meaning you go out there and get 20 points. We're trying to put you in a situation where when you get on your school team, well, first you can make your school team. Second, you get on the floor. And third, if you get on the floor, you can stay on the floor.
Yeah.
So that's why that's the method to our madness, right?
Yeah. And then there's another thing too is we don't want to shortchange the kids here too.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is we know where we are and what part of the world we're in. We know that things are different. We know the circumstances here is different because of the leisure, the safety, at some point, a lot of coddling for the kids. But we don't want to make that an excuse as to why we don't coach them hard.
Right.
Or we don't put expectations on them, knowing that if we don't do that, they're going to be way worse off than those kids who don't have anything.
Right.
For them, no resources, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest things that makes us different too. We're not going to use the excuse that, hey, this kid will leave us if we're too hard on them.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true.
Yeah. Well,
these kids, some of these kids respond better to that, and they would rather you do that than you just let them get away with murder.
Yeah. Anybody that's experienced in parenting, teaching, coaching, or let's say supervising youth, right? Know that kids respond to structure. Most kids respond to structure.
Yeah,
that's just bottom line. And of course, let's just say it, man. Every academy isn't for every kid. You know, if you come and you don't want to be held accountable, you don't want to accept constructive criticism, Boot Mountain's not for you.
Yep,
it's okay.
Yep,
it's not for you.
Yep, and we do say that is that we don't want every kid, every family. We want the right ones, right? And it's realistically, like, if you are a sports academy of any kind and you want every kid possible, like, what about the competition? You know, like, who you going to compete against? How is it going to grow? How are we going to have a healthy environment? And so, but that brings to the point to where we have now become, I literally have a message from somebody that is funny because he's been sending messages before, and he was like, hey, man, I keep hearing a lot about you guys, so I want to try it out. You know, I'm 16. Can I come for a free trial? And what we've seen is that many people, when we were telling them to come, because it's different, we'll take care of you. Well, we only had 15 kids at that time. They weren't willing to step outside and be different, right? Now that we got an overflow of about 215 between the two of us in 3 locations, everybody wants to come out. But now we got to be more selective, because we don't have much room and we don't dilute the product. But what we have noticed is the work we have to do to help repair kids' confidence. Because people coming from, and this is specifically from people who come from different teams and different organizations or different situations, right? And so one of our topics for today, just giving the audience a heads up, is how do you build confidence in players? Right. And now we'll use this in a basketball point of view, but parents, you can use this. Business leaders around the world, you can use this. Teachers, you can use this, because we always say basketball is a great metaphor for life. Right. And so OG is the one with the jewels. And so I'm going to just throw off some different scenarios, OG. We'll discuss them. I'll put my point of view. But mainly this one is about how do we help build confidence in our young people, right? And so the first scenario we think about is players that come from different teams. You know, we look at kids sometimes that we see play, and we can tell that they got something in them. They just don't have the confidence driven in it from the coach. Or maybe the coach doesn't know how to pull those things out of them. So he's constantly screaming because he's frustrated about something. But when we get those kids, their confidence is rock bottom, right? So how do you help build a kid's confidence who's been broken by a different coach?
Well, first it starts with transparency, letting that kid know that, you're going to make mistakes, and we understand that, and we're going to call you out for those mistakes. But the key component to that is we're going to show you how to correct those mistakes. We're going to talk to you about why you made those mistakes and what can be prevented, can help you, from doing that again. And we just go from there. We stay consistent. We're not gonna, jump up and down and cheer every time you do something well, because we expect that from you. Mm-hmm. But we're going to let you know that, we do support you, and we see something in you, and we expect more out of you. And that's a compliment.
Yeah,
that's a compliment. We don't want you to come and just fit into a role. We want you to find a role that's acceptable for the team and grow out of that role into something bigger.
Yep, yep. And from a player's perspective, what you got to try to keep in mind too is listen to what they're saying and watch your coach's actions.
Yep.
Coach King and I are going to be hard on you. Every coach I've ever had that helped push me to a different place was really hard and had high expectations. But I knew the difference between those guys and the guys that just was talking to hit himself talk because of the actions. If every time your coach curses you out, puts you on the line for something that you did wrong or you know you're supposed to do, if the very next play he gives you the basketball back and says, now go run the show, you got to keep in mind, like, okay, he's on me, but he knows I can do it and he's going to give me a chance to keep doing it, right? If he's correcting you and stopping you every time you do something small wrong, know that he's trying to help you set yourself apart from somebody, right? And you can know the difference between somebody yelling just to be hearing themselves yelling. But if they're talking, they're like specifically like you're driving to the left to your weak side trying to make a one-hand bounce pass across the court. We can't do that. So get back here and make 3 bounce passes the way we taught you to do it. And now go do it while we playing the game. See, that's different. Yeah. So don't take those things personally. Just understand. So as a player, when you're coming into a different space, you got to pay attention to what the actual coach is doing for you and with you. And then we got the moment when, as a player, you come to a new height, right? You went and worked all summer. You got your game right. You got, some reps in. Now you got new expectations. The athletes around you are better. Maybe you've gone from high school to college where everybody is a big dog, but you're still expected to try and find your way to outshine them and be great academically.
Right.
Like, how do we help them when those guys or girls are at the point where, wow, I don't know if I can do this, and they're just wavering in confidence?
Well, before they even get to that point, like I talked about transparency, everybody's got to be honest with these people, with these kids. You may not always hear what you want to hear from us, but you're going to hear what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And then, because if we constantly tell you that everything you do is the greatest that we've ever seen, come on, man, we can't look ourselves in the mirror. We know that we're lying.
Yeah.
Because you're a kid and you're coming from let's just say it, let's be honest. This is a non-basketball environment.
Yeah.
It's growing, but overall it's not a basketball environment yet. So, so that's the first thing. Second thing is once they get to that point, it's a complete reset.
Yeah.
It's a complete reset. You're not who you were. That's in the past. Now it's about who you're going to be. Mm-hmm. So now you have to get your footing, what I'm saying, in terms of transition, whether it's the academics, athletics, social life, just the outside environment. Everything's a complete reset. You got to humble yourself and just say, I got to put my head down and work even harder.
Yeah.
And everybody around you, your mom, your dad, your big bro, big sis, friends, coaches, teachers, academic advisors, everybody's got to tell you the same thing. It's work.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's work and consistency. And if you're not willing to do that, then okay, it happens where people realize that this isn't for me.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to take the next step and give it a shot, it's just work and consistency. That's it. Time management.
That reset you're talking about is a complete reset. So that even means in your schedule and how you do things.
Yep.
And so I started to realize and talked about it more. You hear me say it now. It's like, I got to get in the gym because I know that me as a player, I'm at my best when I'm getting reps outside of the time we're in practice. When I'm putting in extra time, my confidence is extra high because I know I did the work, right? And so that complete reset comes, one, before you do the research, remind yourself that you started from the bottom before and look where you ended up going, right? So when you do the reset, you're not starting to reset like you did in high school. You're starting it with 4 years of information that lets you know it's like, all right, I am capable of this. Now, what you do have to do is do a new schedule, right? So that's when you start to lean on, one, if you got some people around that's done what you've done already, right? Maybe there's a player that's locally, maybe there's a senior on campus, maybe you can call some family members and say, hey, when you got to school and it was time for you to do this, how did you do it? Pick up some tips, talk to your coach. A lot of the times the assistant coaches that you have are a little bit younger and they're the ones that have the time that'll get you in there. That's what happened with me. And so when you do your reset, remind yourself you've done it before. So when you do this, it's no different. You're just taking it to a new level. So reset on your study time, your practice time with the team, without the team, and then your free time. Because you got to put that in there too. Because it ain't going to work if you don't give yourself some time to wild out.
Yep.
You know, so those new expectations come new things. Now, what about those kids that they don't understand how good they really are, right? And these don't even have to be star kids. What we know is we know how to recognize kids that can be serviceable and really, really impact winning. That might be a kid that can give just 8 to 12 a game and then 4 or 5 tips on a pass that cause some turnovers, some extra possessions here, take a charge here, you know, close out hard every time. Those little things, but they can even be a threat offensively, but they don't know it. They just unselfish. They're not sure. Like, how do you go about getting confidence instilled in them and getting the team to have confidence in them?
You got to put them in those situations.
Yeah.
You got to put them in those situations and
when though? Like, you talking about like practice or throughout this time where you doing?
Well, of course in practice, because, you know, of course, if you make a mistake in practice, it doesn't hurt the team immediately. You know, and so everything in terms of your drills, your philosophy and everything, you know, you got to implement those kids in those situations that they're uncomfortable so that they will have a chance to be in those situations in games, even though they'll still be uncomfortable, but it won't be foreign to them.
Yeah.
And so you can build on that. You know, in terms of the games, you as a coach, you got to find little moments here and there to put those guys in there where it won't affect your team in a negative, you know, fashion. So, you know, if it's a kid who we think that can score an extra 6 or 7 points for us a game, you know, but he or she doesn't have a lot of confidence in, you know, putting the ball on the floor or whatever, we got to find moments in the game where we have a lead. The game is, you know, is in hand, and we put them in those situations.
Yeah. And
when, you know, they get a chance to, you know, to perform, you know, if they do well, we of course applaud them. If they don't perform well or at the level that we want them to, we got to pull them to a side, give them constructive criticism, and then help them along the way. That's it. It just takes time, man. You know, but the thing is, how many coaches have the time or the patience to invest in those kids? That's the thing. Everybody that comes to you is not going to be, you know, a ready-made player. Some people you got to develop.
Yeah.
And that's the true essence of teaching. You know, you bring somebody to us that averages 20 points. Well, hell, that person's going to average 25 because we're going to put them in situations where we make it easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if that player comes and that player averaged 4 points from somewhere else, now it's our job to change that 4 points to 10 points because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, develop. And so I always appreciate those situational practices where everybody knows or thinks they knows who the top dogs are on the team. So when you put one of those kids that don't really know how good they are on a team where they're carrying the load, and we're like, no, we expect you to win 3-on-3 with your guys. Right. We expect you to do that. And then those moments when they have those times to where it's like, oh, okay, I made that move against so-and-so, the best player on the team. And then everybody sees it. And I think as a player, one of the things that helps you grow too is when you know your teammates have confidence in you.
Right.
You know, and I think one of the things I've been watching and I think I'm getting good at because we played is that having a feel for when certain people are going to have their moment. You know, like sometimes some people hear us telling certain players to shoot. And they're like, why are they so pressing on it? Because I've seen this person make a bunch of shots in practice before. And the way the momentum is going, they've been playing hard, they've been grabbing rebounds and everything else. The game just got a way of finding itself, the ball finding you in certain times. You just got to know you confident in shooting it. Yep. I can take it I'm thinking 3 or 4 times this league so far in the season to where I'm like, yelling, next time that ball come to you, shoot it, don't think twice. And every time they've hit it. But I've reminded them, do you shoot that in practice?
Right.
Do we tell you to shoot it in practice? Do you work hard? Like some of the things you just got to reiterate too. One of the biggest ones is this is like a confidence of a whole team, but also some of your better players can be overconfident, which can really be a mask for insecurity.
Right.
Right. And so some people you have on your team that for, let's say it's a 40-minute game, for 30 minutes, they are giving you everything. But it's 10 minutes to where they can turn the game upside down and then the rest of the team don't want to play with them. right? And or maybe the rest of the team doesn't feel like they can count on them, or maybe they don't feel like, hey, he doesn't even believe in me. He just takes it all on his own. So how do you manage a player like that?
Well, I mean, that happens from being consistent in practice in terms of letting everybody know that we're going to treat everybody the same. Okay.
Yep.
We're going to hold everybody accountable, but you may have different roles and responsibilities. And, and making sure that your best players, talent-wise, understand that they have more of a responsibility than just playing well. They have more of a responsibility in terms of like helping manage the team somewhat, in terms of like, if you see one of your teammates down, you got to go over to him and pick them up. You see one of your teammates maybe doing something wrong, you got to go over and correct them if you know what it is they're doing wrong. And so it's more than just being the best player on the court. You got to be a leader, and then that's where it comes from. So, so you get into a game situation, even the weakest player on the team understands that you got his back, they have your back. Because as a coach, we're going to make sure that that player who is the quote unquote weakest player at that particular time understands that they have a role to play too. Yeah. We don't win unless everybody plays their role. And so sometimes your roles are bigger, but each game your roles change. Yeah. And, are you willing to accept that? So it's our job to get that across in practice.
Yeah. This is where, and I think we're ways away from that, but this is where I think your players help you a lot too. Because there's always certain players on the team that everybody just get along with, and everybody just respects, and they may not even be your best player, right? We always talk about Blue. We talked about Blue all the time, right? And Blue is one of those guys that he can humble us because out of respect, because we know he ain't gonna lie. He ain't gonna lie to us. He always gonna work hard, and he always gonna be like, look, like this is not what we do as winners and as a team. You may be a big dog, and we gonna be here, but understand you ain't nowhere without us.
But see, no offense, that's a bad example, and I'm just the reason why it's a bad example is because Blue had a certain mystique about him from football, which is a major sport that carries over. Yeah. Second, Blue was a cerebral player. Yeah. He knew every position. Yeah. He could play every position, even though he was small of stature. Yeah. He knew everybody's role and responsibilities. So you're talking about somebody with basketball IQ off the charts. Yeah. So and he had a physical presence that gave him a certain toughness on and off the court. Yeah. So he comes into the situation with a cachet of respect. Yeah. We're talking about here in the UAE where we might have 12 players on a team, and even our best player, he's athletic, he's fast, maybe he's better, he can shoot, whatever, but he doesn't have the social aspect where he just steps up and becomes a leader. Yeah. So that's why we have to make leaders.
So oh man, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So that's where, you get the conversation from parents where parents are like, how do I make my kid tougher out here? Right? Because you get confidence in various ways, right? Why am I confident that when I go to the UAE, even though I've never been out of the country anywhere, that I'm going to be okay? My mom put me in some tough situations where she told me, look, you got to figure it out. You got to stay solid. You got to figure it out. And so now my confidence comes on what I've worked on before, what I've done before, and the spaces I've been in. We don't have many moments where these kids have to fight and be resilient. Yeah. And just anything.
Right. That's why we have to create that.
Yeah. But it's tough though, because a lot of those experiences that we talk about, they come outside of the game. Because I've seen Blue outside. I've been with Blue outside of things. I've been with other people outside of things. It's just tough because it's on how many hours, coach, that are they with us? Right. Like, but can we really build that? They only have 2 hours?
Even your situation is not a good example pertaining to this environment. And the reason I say it is because 99.9% of the players that went to Duke University all come from good families. Yeah. They're tough as hell on the court. Yeah. Grant Hill, he ain't have no struggles. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Most of those guys that are all Americans there they came from great families. But the thing is, they get to Duke, all right? And Coach K is tough as hell. He always talks about when does he do his coaching? He says, I do it in practice. I do in the game. I just manage.
Yeah.
If you look at, we look at them we look at them a little differently than say North Carolina. We look at Duke as,
Say white collar.
White collar, straight A students. But those dudes are killers.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying even to get to Duke, you got to be tough. And what I'm saying is the tough is different. I'm talking about the schedule, the work, the sacrifices, those things. That's a lot of time away from them.
And that's created how? Yeah. Those are created from your coaching environment.
Well, I'm saying some of it's coaching environment, but the other half got to be home.
Right. But what I'm saying is that if your parents are, one's a lawyer, one's a doctor, and they're gone all the time working, whatever, you may not be getting the same experiences that you had, where you had a scrape at the park yesterday. You know what I'm saying? The 2 weeks before the park, old heads wouldn't let you play, so you had to bully your way onto the court. Cats didn't have that. Yeah. But your basketball environment was made tough for you, and you either had to adjust and say, I'm going to do the extra work, I'm going to go hard, or I'm not going to play. And so that's where we come in. Yeah. Because here, think about it. Some of the kids who struggle to get on the court for us, they star on their high school teams.
Yeah, and they start in other programs.
Yeah, so that's my point.
So I will say, now thinking about it, our bump and run is probably an incubator for a lot of that rough. You know what I'm saying? Like that's probably the closest thing they get there. They're like, oh, this is crazy. Like it's in that type of battle, but it's just interesting to see. And
hey man, listen, it's all around the world. You think about the private schools back home, the top level private schools, some, rough kids, but then the other kids, you got to get it in practice.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, the schedule, the sacrifice, because you can be tough without having to, do nothing stupid stuff. It's just, sometimes it's just you just ignoring them distractions, ignoring all that craziness. So
you think about, this is a funny thing. With a lot of our kids, you think about this. Where do they hear the word no the most?
Yeah.
With us.
Yeah.
We don't, we give you instructions. Why are you questioning us?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't get that everywhere else.
That no is powerful.
Yeah. So now those kids that have been with us for an extended period of time, now they are beginning to do what? Transfer those same practices to the younger kids, to the other aspects of their lives. So hey, it starts with us, man. People say they want to coach. Well, you're supposed to start off with grassroots basketball so you understand the grind.
Yeah, that's really going to make a difference. That's for sure. Now, let's get into some basketball news, right? And, a lot of outlets probably won't spend a lot of time on it, but we going to. Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces and Asia Wilson for back-to-back WNBA titles. She's finals MVP again.
And they've only been in the league, 3 years maybe?
Something like that. I think so they got it together over there. It was a big game for Asia Wilson. She had 24. And then also the young buck, the MVP, Stewie, she went 3 for 17. And now, if you've been following the WNBA this year, it's been a lot more static, a lot of trash talk, a lot of issues going around the league, and one of them being that a lot of people felt like the WNBA was shortchanging Asia Wilson. She's the best player in the league. She's been that way. She's been dominating, defensive player of the year, all those different things, and she got a 4th place vote for MVP. Right. And then also she doesn't have a signature shoe, but a young lady who, she was injured the year before. She hasn't done any of the work that she's done, has it? And so they've been talking about the legitimacy of all those things. And as she said, let's just play. She pulled up to the game in black Air Forces, and the running joint with that. And she wore her thing. She said, look, let's just play and I'll handle it there. But I think this is good for the WNBA.
Well, here's the thing, man. Unfortunately, we know just like anything else in sports, there's going to be politics, and it's one of two things. It could be one, she ruffled some feathers, maybe the wrong feathers in terms of somebody with the media or ownership. We know how that goes because we've seen it before with T.O. in football. All right. Second thing is, people may be looking at her like, maybe you're not as marketable. You see what I'm saying? Now you can force certain people into being marketing giants, but some companies may not have the vision. We just talked about it with certain players. So those are two things that always stand out in my mind. And so now she did what she was supposed to do.
Yep.
Now she's forcing the issue.
Yep.
I guarantee you that she won't be in the same situation next year.
Yep.
Because now everybody's gonna be like, whoa, like no matter what, we got to put her in the forefront.
And I think part of that too is because she came from South Carolina. She's the one. She has a statue outside of South Carolina already. Right. And you know, when she was coming, she started that era for Dawn. She was the one who was like, look, Dawn, we're gonna go. We're gonna be unapologetic. So you know, anybody coming out of there, they didn't want her to win, because even big young lady Aaliyah Boston, who ended up, I think she was All-Star this year, also the Rookie of the Year and stuff. They were trying their hardest to go against her, some of the other teammates and everything. And so a lot of that, I think they're carrying, because you know, just like in a different way, the way Prime is changing college football, Don Staley has changed WNBA. And I think a lot of those writers are carrying some of those same type of animosities onto her head.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. That's one of my points. You think about it. See, I've been through all these different eras. UNLV and Jerry Tarkanian went through the same thing. Same thing. Fab Five, they same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes, you know? And so you have to make sure you put yourself in a position where you can't be denied.
Yeah.
And she did that.
Yeah.
So she went and kicked ass for 2 years in a row. And she on the biggest stage, against the biggest names, she put in work. So she can't be denied.
Yeah. And then, you know, she got the support. And so she got a book out too. Make sure you guys go check that out. Especially for the young lady.
Audio. I ain't reading
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is that's back-to-back titles in Las Vegas. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think a hockey team in Vegas. Is there a hockey team in Vegas? Double check. I think they won a title recently too.
They did.
Right? And so that's two major sports teams that won titles. And the Vegas has the Raiders coming.
Yep.
Right? And then we've also heard talk that Vegas and Seattle are going to get NBA teams. And now Vegas as a city, what is that going to look like for entertainment? Because, I got right here the big mega sphere that they have, and it's been used as a marketing ploy, just the outside of it, for the last 3 months or so. Yeah. But they just recently opened it up on the inside, and U2 had a concert in there. Yeah. That looks absolutely insane, King. Yeah. Like, what is Vegas going to look like, period, for sports and everything? Well, especially with sports betting being real.
Well, let me just say, Vegas has always been a special place.
Always.
So let me just say that, you know, bright lights, big city, and let's just say it's just gonna grow.
Man.
It's just gonna keep growing. You know, 25, 30 years ago, Vegas was not a place you go to live. You go there to party and you go to work. But then all the suburbs started to expand, and now you can raise a family there. But now, you know, and this is what a lot of people don't know. The Vegas downtown part was trash.
Yeah.
Was trash. You know, like the downtown was here and then the strip was here.
So listen, King. So let me find out who developed the Sphere. Like, looked up like what organization, what group, who's behind the Sphere. And so, King, I remember playing it. When you go to these places like Vegas and everything, and you play in these tournaments, your tournament games are not on the strip.
No, sir.
They're
no, sir.
They're outside. So I remember going to Vegas, and I was like, "Yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?" But I don't know if I was talking to you or somebody talking about how for retiring, you could retire in Vegas if you get you a house on the strip out there for the low.
Listen, that's where I'm going. If I can't retire here in Dubai, I'm going back to Vegas. Don't get me wrong, it's not dirt cheap.
Yeah, but it's inexpensive.
But it's affordable.
Yeah.
And you can get quality housing and have a quality lifestyle without spending, 3 times your salary.
Yeah.
So it is a good place. And the weather's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And now think about that. You got Usher residency right now going crazy, right? You got major sports games. You got college athletics also being played there. You got all types of stuff. Now you got this Sphere to where, if I'm not mistaken, I think they hold like 18,000. So you're talking about the immersive videos, concerts, 18,000 people.
Yeah, for the residency stuff, that's been going on for years.
For years, yeah.
You just gotta, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, like, you could go to Vegas, and I've been and caught some crazy shows, and it's not expensive. You know, so it's just like Vegas, man. You know, when people say like, "What is Dubai like?" I say it's like Vegas on steroids.
Yeah.
You know, but then now it's about to be what's Vegas like? It's like Dubai on steroids. Like it's crazy, man.
And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Madison Square Garden behind this? So James Dolan behind this sphere. And now, as much as we dislike his ownership of the Knicks, James Dolan always brings in money with Madison Square Garden. Yeah. And so what I've also heard is that is the sphere also going to London? And so double check. I think it's other location. Yeah. So see what other locations. So if there's going to be a sphere in Vegas, in London, and I think I saw something on the graphic that said somewhere in the Middle East as well too.
You know it's coming here.
Come on, man. It's probably gonna be Saudi.
You know,
it's probably gonna be Saudi. Yeah, because Saudi coming.
But UAE ain't gonna let that slide. They're gonna get two of them
for sure. They probably gonna start spending on the thing as well. But it's just crazy to see like how that's gonna be if when time gets back to it. The Vegas, we're gonna be there because you're talking about the summer league. Like Vegas is year round. Yeah, everything. Get that property soon, King. Get that property soon. And so let's talk about some fun stuff here. All right. And so let's clap it up first of all for this. Shaquille O'Neal and AI take over Reebok and his basketball operations. Okay. And so for some of you new people who don't know, before Shaq had his own shoe brand, Shaq was the highlight athlete for Reebok. And Reebok in the 90s was fire. I remember that black and white tracksuit they had with the Reebok over the symbol over here. It was fire. It was good energy. So right now, Shaq is the president of basketball, and Allen Iverson is, I believe, the vice president of basketball as well. And the first person they have signed to an NIL deal is Angel Reese. You know, Shaq had to go and tap in with his LSU alumni. Brethren, yep. And man, King, I'm gonna just go ahead and go right into the next one because it goes in line. And now Skechers is starting a basketball division, right? And so its basketball division now they're pitching. He hasn't signed yet. They're pitching Joel Embiid, who was previously with Under Armour. So they're pitching Joel Embiid. Julius Randle and Terrence Mann are expected to sign with the brand as well. They had some lifetime endorsement with a soccer guy, a football star, as you guys say, a golf guy, and a couple other people. And then Reebok also have
Joe Montana.
Oh yeah, look. And then Reebok also has a Chicago Bears quarterback, Justin Fields, and so we also know the moves that what's the name has made. New Balance. They got Rich Paul over there. New Balance got Zach LaVine. They got Kawhi Leonard. Got a handful of people. Puma, they got a bunch of people there too as well. LaMelo, Rozier. And so what you reminded me though is this is not the first time we've had this much variety amongst the shoes, right? So go ahead and give us a little bit of education on what that shoe stuff looked like before you go ahead and kill Skechers.
I'm not gonna
and
kill
New
him.
Balance and Reebok.
I'm not gonna kill him.
Because listen, if you're giving out 200, 300,000, look here, Skechers, we'll throw them on too.
Oh, no doubt.
We'll get the sweatsuit. We'll happily throw Hoop Mountain on there, Reebok.
No, there was a time in the NBA when all the superstars had their own shoe. Mm-hmm. I just looked it up. Olajuwon, you talked to him. He wore Etonics. You don't even know what they look like.
Nah, I don't. Hold on. He wore what?
Etonics.
Yeah. Make sure you put a note in there for me to look up Etonics.
We need to look up Etonic, Pony, Brooks, Ewings. We know who started with Nike.
Was it Pro Kids? Did Pro Kids have a basketball sneaker?
Ooh, I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Of course Adidas. Yeah. And then, my man, George Iceman Gervin, Nike.
He was first.
Sitting on the recliner.
Was he the first Nike athlete? Not the first one because
I think he was the first big time one.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? You think about Converse. Everybody had a big time shoe, but then again,
Fila. How you forget Fila? Come on, King. Y'all, listen, I'm gonna call somebody and get them pictures of you in them Filas. I'm gonna call Gerald. I know Gerald got them.
So listen, so I'll give you a story about that. Like Fila used to send us stuff, right? And it'd be prototypes. You know what I'm saying? Like you're experimenting on us.
Yeah.
And so they had the Grand Hills. Remember, they were smooth with the patent leather on, so they was nice, right? Yeah. But at first, they wouldn't feel right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So outside of that, the rest of the high top feelers, I wasn't wearing those. So I used to wear the mid top. They were like cross trainers.
Okay.
But then every time Fang would see me with them, he'd go ape shit because I wasn't supposed to be wearing it because he gets paid for us to wear the basketball sneakers. So, but I was always trying to wear the cross trainers because they were lighter and they felt better. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, come on. But yeah, there was 10 to 15 different shoe companies back then, and every major star had their own shoe. And like anything, man, it gets to a point where you put so much money into it, are you getting a return? Now, if everybody had gone into it and just said, you know what, this is our market, this is what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But people were trying to overtake the number one spot, which was Converse back then. And you ain't taking, think about it. West Coast was Magic.
Yeah.
East Coast was Bird.
Yeah.
And then you had Julius Irving wearing Converse. You know what I'm saying? Weapons. Those were the hottest sneakers out back then. And they could get them in any colors.
And low key, I'm telling you this now, because once I find a pair, I'm going to buy them. They're going to come back. The Weapons. Not as playing shoes.
Right. I'm sure. Yeah.
But because Shea Gillis out of SGA, he's a Converse guy.
Okay.
And you sign with Converse because you can still wear Nike because Converse is owned by Nike.
That's right.
Right. And so, but the Weapons, I'm going to get it because I remember, that's the thing about what I loved about being where we were. I remember 9th grade, 2006, and everybody was trying to get a pair of Weapons to rock because it was coming back. Because I remember I also had the old school Pippins with the stripe on the side, the red one, because these come in black and it's red, but I had the white and red ones because I can get them from Sports Zone in Springfield Mall, right? But that's something that I am looking forward to seeing. It's interesting. New Balance has done a good job of building their new department. I like what they do with Rich Paul. I still wouldn't wear a pair of New Balance sneakers for basketball, but I think they can develop into something. Because what New Balance does have is comfortable shoes, like in general.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like with Adidas, you don't have really they don't have the tech to be like comfortable, but you know that New Balance has great running shoes and workout shoes. And so when they get the aesthetic together, they might be able to be a B player in the market.
Well, that's why Nike came along. So they're running sneakers, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned, you just mentioned, what was it?
The Pippins?
No, before the Pippins. What were you talking about?
The Weapons, Converse
the weapons, right? So I'm in middle school, and our colors were maroon and gold. So we were all in practice. Back then there was no internet, so we had a catalog. So we looked through the catalog.
What book was it? The East Bay book back then?
This wasn't East Bay. It was something else though.
Yeah.
And you could you find a shoe and you pick the colors you want, right?
Yeah, with the ID number.
And so we wanted the ones that were maroon and gold, right?
Yeah.
And they were $85 when you finished customizing.
Oh, you could customize them too back then? And I know the customizing was different because you could write it down
so
everything.
It was nasty. So we all of us, all 15, we in agreement. We getting these. Everybody gonna go home and beg their parents, right? And so I went and kind of lied to my stepfather. I never forget, I was in 8th grade and I was like, I gotta have these shoes, or Coach said we can't play.
Yeah, you take it to
Coach Aubrey Brown, may he rest in peace. My stepfather said, everybody's got to get them.
The team shoe.
Everybody's got. I said, it's the team shoe. You got to get them. It's advised that we get 2 pair, but if we get 1, it's a good start. And so he was like, he looked at my mom. Everybody's got to have them. I was like, He said, you know those shoes are $85, right? I said,
Yeah.
I said, but hey, look, we think we can win it all this year.
Yeah.
And so he says, last time I'm gonna ask you, everybody's gonna have this shoe. I said, absolutely. We get to the first game.
You the only one with him.
It's me and one other dude. I said, yo, what happened? They said, yeah, man, our parents said it's too much, man. I was like, Billy, your mom owns the bank. You know what I'm saying? But back in that time, nobody was paying that kind of money for those types of shoes, right?
Yeah.
And so my stepfather said, I just remember looking up in the stands, he was like, we got a lot to talk about. He worked me like a slave for like 3 summers, man.
Did you win it all though?
Hell no. We got our ass kicked the first round of the playoffs.
Hey man, but listen, the shoe, it's amazing how that's changed though.
Yeah.
Because the shoe thing is important still, but I remember now kids, I'm looking at the youngest walking and I'm like, yo, what you got on your feet, man? What you got on your feet? There's no understanding of what's going on. Like they gotta get taught, and it's a different place here. This dressing in general around here is a little bit different.
But we're in the I told you about the international stuff. It's just
I know.
Whatever's colorful and that stands out. I'm telling you, listen, whatever's colorful. Look what he got on. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't talking about your shoe. We talking about your fit. You know what I'm saying? Like.
It don't make no sense. Don't make much sense. Yeah.
You might have some
and it don't have to be real either.
It
don't have to be real either.
You might have some bright colors on, something like that, but it's got to make sense.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to stand out because you think about all the schools here. There really isn't a social environment. Kids go to school. We have kids in the academy that are in the same grade level, see each other, and didn't even speak to each other until they became a part of the academy. And we made them do that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. Oh, so you've been with this kid, you've known this kid for 3 years in terms of the same grade level. I mean, different grade levels going up, and you don't know each other?
Yeah.
And so they go to school, they go home. And then we have some kids that are homeschooled. So what do they do to like bring attention to themselves? You wear some colorful stuff.
Man, we got a couple of our guys, because they think sometimes like they look at us, right? And I'm the young guy, but we always got a certain look, right? Like you always got your shorts are always a certain type. You always wear them a certain way, but there's always some swagger with it, right? It's just age appropriate. Age appropriate, but it's a swagger though. It's a swagger. We won't wear certain shoes. We won't do certain things. I remember I took one of the young bucks with me over the summer that I had, and I was taking them to the Nike store because my insole and my joints that I'm playing in now gone. The insole, I felt
some new wheels.
Yeah, I got some new ones on the way, right? And so I had them at the spot, and I was like, "Look, Slim, like the shoes I played in was a big deal to me. It was real. One, my feet had to be comfortable, and I didn't realize until I got older how important them kicks was. And then 2, it's like, this is you Iverson, Prime, they all said it. You look good, you feel good, you play good. Like it's a little different when you step out there.
You play good, they pay good.
Oh yeah, we gotta get there next. And so I've been trying to teach them and get them there, but people really rocking with Skechers though.
Yeah.
Like I think something just happened. A young boy is going to look it up, but Skechers, man, Pony is funny to me.
That was a big basketball show.
But Pony, and I seen Pony. You know who I seen trying to bring Pony back? Dame Dash. It was about 5-6 years ago.
And stop playing.
But I'm gonna go find me some Converse weapons. Matter of fact, because I'm gonna do that because I like to do something that people don't normally do. And so let's round it out today, King. We got celebrate Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala just formally announced his retirement. 4-time NBA champion, Finals MVP. I think he might have been all defensive team multiple times as well. But just give a huge shout out to that guy. Shout out to his podcast as well. He and Evan Turner have a good podcast. Iggy is one of those people who's going to go down as quietly one of the best dunkers we've ever had.
For sure.
Yeah, so those of you that don't know, go Google and peep Iggy before this loss of hair when he was the AI 2.0 with Allen Iverson in Philly. Iggy was a great player, smart guy, somebody that I know you'd appreciate because he had to transition and create a different lane for himself as he got older. And he filled his role perfectly his last 5 to 8 years in the league. So Iggy is not going to coach immediately. Iggy is going to be, he founded a $200 million venture capital fund that is aimed for startup investors in the sports realm. And so he's going to be targeting different areas like fintech, enterprise software, and sports companies. And so for people that don't know, a venture capital is a form of private equity and a type of financing that investors provide to startup companies and small businesses that are believed to have long-term growth potential. So basically, everybody in the NBA needs something to do with their money. They put it into this fund and people go and pitch different projects to them. And if they like it, they choose it, they invest into it with some type of return on that money. Ooh, Iggy. The lights flashing with the satin jersey on too, the blue one.
But you know what's different though?
Crowd.
No, the graphics.
Yeah.
Like just think if it was today's graphics. This is what I want to say to the young people. Like, guys in the NBA always been crazy athletic.
Yeah, we're looking at Iggy right now do his dunks in the dunk contest.
Come on, man. Like, you know, to say that guys weren't athletic back in the day, you ain't seen Iguodala.
Yeah, and so just for people who might be like, yo, why is Iggy going into venture capital fund stuff? Because I know, OG, you probably like, yo, like you let me see you do something before we give you some money for some things. And so he was early in the Coinbase cryptocurrency platform. He was in that early. Carta, which is a special software that invests in table management and valuation software for enterprises. Allbirds, which is an eco-friendly footwear company, and Hims, which is a telehealth company. So something like those Mind apps and things like that. And so he has like 4 or 5 of those in his portfolio that he was first in. So it's probably over like the last 10 years that he's been able to build his equity as a good mind.
Somebody gave me Allbirds as a good tip too a few years ago. I didn't have the spare money to
see. Yeah. And so, but having somebody like Ty Lue and Damon Jones, look at that. Damon Jones had the red suit on with the red tie and the black stuff. That's sick. Boy, it looked like 5 heartbeats. You know what I'm saying? And so, I think the reason why I know one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up Iggy as well is because when you look at the flexibility and the growth and maturity of an athlete, like where do you take your game post retirement, and how soon do you start thinking about that? That's not just for the NBA player. That's for you guys overseas. That's for you guys that come to the realization that, hey, my career is going to end in college. Like, what do I do, and when do I start preparing for life? You know, and especially when you got those resources there. He hit his head on the backboard that first time. Sheesh, that's tough, man. I do miss those dunk contests, man.
I know it was an event back in the day.
Oh, and he still hit his head on there. Gilbert Arenas, all them dudes was wild. And I got to pull up a couple of things because Gilbert and Kenyon Martin were talking about how the stuff Ja Morant got in trouble for right now is peanuts compared to everything that they all did in that era. No doubt. It's just cameras. He said, if y'all would have seen what I did my rookie year, let alone me having $100 million, if y'all would have seen rookie year, y'all would look at me like I'm crazy, you know. But
and they're absolutely right. The only defense I have for them is that they didn't have anybody before them with that kind of bread to, like, as an example in terms of like what to do or what not to do.
Listen, one of the funniest things I heard Gilbert talk about was there was somebody on his team that was playing with cocaine in his sock. And you know, Gilbert was in the league in the early 2000s. This wasn't like 1985. He said cocaine in his sock. Matter of fact, they talked about Vin Baker and how they was at the free throw line. Somebody was like, "Damn, I smell like strong alcohol," and somebody was like, "No, that ain't me. That's Vin."
Yeah,
it's like Vin used to go to the back
in his water bottle.
And his
tell Young Buck to look up what Chris Mullin used to drink.
Chris Mullin used to drink before?
What? What? And then flame your ass. What? Look it up.
Well, Chris Mullin too?
Man, listen.
You know, there's a couple dudes, they said they used to put, Gilbert said this is funny. Gilbert said he had a teammate who used to put 2 beers per quarter in his water bottle. Yeah. Right? And he said he knew he won't get in there, so he just be up there half sleep, drunk.
That's commonplace. That's nothing. Yeah. That's league. That's any league. There's no question. That's nothing. The beer, it's nothing.
Man.
Nothing. Yeah, I think like a lot of times overseas, especially like in Latin America, Europe, you drink beer at halftime.
You talk what Mullen have? Slim? What Mullen put on? Don't tell me Mullen was. You found it.
Yeah, he had to enter
Yeah,
told you. Like he admitted it. Like he used to drink like a fifth a day or something like that. Like he used to be loaded. Run TMC, the cat with the flame.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay, King. I got something for you right here before we end the pod.
Is he?
Is Luka the best player on this team?
Is he?
Production-wise. I didn't ask you that. Enough said. But in the MVP vote, he's the 4th best player in the NBA compared to the bullshit list from the other day. He in the MVP conversation, and in my opinion, I don't think he's the best player on this basketball team. But that's for another. Never mind. Move on. Just sip my tea. This is.
Okay, so who's the best player on the Mavs if Luka's not?
Hey, I know one. Put it like this. You know, when people be talking about one-on-one, I know if you ask Dinwiddie who's the best one-on-one player there, I guarantee it won't be who they think it is. Won't be Luka.
You know what I'm saying? Guarantee you line them up, let them play ones.
Oh, he couldn't be. Dinwiddie said, he got mopped every time.
Yeah, every time, dog. And you line him up against Kyrie, it'll be listen. He might don't touch the ball. If you give Kyrie the ball first, Luka won't touch the ball.
Hey.
Luka can't guard this goddamn camera stand.
Hey, no, but that's just when they say where y'all ring Dinwiddie,
yeah.
All right,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Be him.
That's all I'm saying.
That's that value. That's that value.
Is Luka good? Absolutely. Good for his team.
Is different.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing with real basketball people. Mm-hmm. If your numbers don't equate to something, they just numbers. And I look at you, who you are and what you're doing, and I look at Kyrie like, shit. Yeah, give me 11.
Yep.
And this is just to go into, because I've said it numerous times. I think that Trae Young has been getting shitted on since draft day in comparison to Luka. And if we look at what Trae Young has done with that team there at his size, with the inconsistency, coaching, management trying to throw him out, and the teams that he's had to play against beat, the way he's performed in the big moments as big players do. If it's anybody else, if he doesn't come in with Luka and Luka getting that talk, it looks crazy. We've said it before, Luka is a right-handed James Harden. Yeah. It was bigger, that should give more.
But this is a dead subject because Trae Young, he was getting crapped on in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still more of the same now, because you hear people talk about, hey, Kyrie gonna have to, he got to do this, he got to do that. The one thing about basketball is, at the end of the game, your best player, the one who can get you a guaranteed shot, the best possible shot, is always going to get the ball. Even the players on the team that they really know, they're going to get the ball to that person too. Because it's like, shit, if LeBron did it, if Bron was like, yo, we going to give it to Kyrie at the end, what's Luka going to do? And what does that say about who the best player is? Yeah.
So, but you get into these arguments and you got half of the internet world to deal with. That's why it's like, Kenyon, don't even get into that, man. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? This is,
Yeah.
Because people don't understand. People will never understand.
Never.
You never understand, why LeBron gave it to Kyrie. He was cooking, and they needed a good shot, and they were hunting a certain individual.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the right play.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was the right decision. You know what I'm saying? The Dallas Mavericks get down in a situation later this year in the playoffs or whatever, and they need a bucket. They better give it to Kyrie.
Yeah, and that's no slight.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No slight, but you got to really understand, because I'm looking at ease of scoring too, because they had a conversation about who's like the best scorers of all time, and it was KD, T Mac, and Melo in this conversation, and at some points, people forget about how great KD is because he's talking about 3-point shooting. KD only shoots 3 to 4. If he shot 10, we may be calling him the greatest one of the greatest 3-point shooters ever. But he just does whatever he got to do efficiently. He got the handle, but I don't need to do as much as maybe Melo off the dribble with the hezzy spin in and out, or any of these other people. But you can't confuse with that, because it's the ease of scoring. That's the other part of it. It's so easy for me. I'm just going to get to these spots and do this right here.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't.
Yeah,
people wouldn't understand that though. People look at the YouTube training and all that stuff. They look at highlights. They don't know. That's here I am. I'm an older guy, but I got to make sure I defend this. That's why a lot of the older guys would get crazy buckets now, because they have more freedom. The game was taught differently back then. To say, all right, we talk about people with handles, right?
Mm-hmm.
We named Kyrie because we all agree Kyrie's probably number one.
Yeah.
Probably number one for sure, right? But people don't know who Pearl Monroe is.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't really know what Isaiah could do.
Yeah.
They don't really know what Stephon Marbury, Kenny Anderson, how those guys had handles. Steve Francis.
Yeah.
They don't really know.
Yeah.
And but you did what you did to be efficient.
Yeah.
People. This is funny because all the top guards always give this dude credit, like crazy love, and people don't know this. John Stockton's hands were the same size as Jordan's hands.
It's crazy.
So you don't think John Stockton could do all that crazy shit?
They said his legs were strong as hell too.
I'm sure he was. So think about it. So you don't think about Tim Hardaway with the Texas two-step, right?
Famous Losa say, man, that was the only one doing any of those moves.
Man,
I couldn't. But I got something for you. Something for you that's right up there.
Come on, man.
Generations get very, very disrespectful when it comes to, that era. And they always say Wilt Chamberlain, even if he did put up 100, it was against plumbers.
Please, the plumbers. Are you kidding me? They had so many great centers back in those. They hardly have centers. The guys that are centers now, they're not centers. I mean, they play on the wing. They're all wanting to shoot 3-point shots. I mean, they don't block shots. They don't protect the rim. It's a different game. People don't understand. I've had many people say, well, Rick, you guys wouldn't be able to play with these guys today. I said, okay, what drugs are you on? Okay, because you got a problem. Because if you really understood the game and you really knew what the difference was between when we played and the guys playing here, we had nothing to help us. I didn't have an agility coach. I didn't have a dietitian. I didn't travel on charter planes so that we could get a good night's sleep and get to the next city and have a nice day. We drove ourselves around in rental cars. I mean, we had $8 a day per diem. These guys get chartered food on their planes. We didn't have whirlpools, and we didn't have saunas, and we didn't have masseuses, and we didn't have any of that. If I played today, I would be faster. And I was pretty fast, okay, and quick. I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. I would be so much better a basketball player because I had none of those things available to me. It's absolutely crazy how much better the guys that I played with, the Oscar Robertsons, the Jerry West, all of us, as good as we were, would be even greater playing today.
Man, give that guy some horns right there. That's facts. Come on, man. And then to add on to that, that's a legend, right? That's Caucasian. Think about an African American that had to deal with racial discrimination back then. So, man, that's why the older guys get upset when people don't respect the game from back. They have no idea what the older generation had to go through. Come on, man. These guys, you fracture a pinky, you don't play. Come on, man. Rod Strickland played with tape on all 5 fingers sometimes.
Man, Sean Marion was just here the other day, right? His left pinky is all the way that way. That the Matrix for real, man.
Tell you, yeah, man. Like, come on, man.
I thought that would be a perfect way to end this off.
That's perfect, man. That's perfect. You could hear the passion in his voice. Like, come on, man. You know what I'll do today?
If you could see his face, man. If you could see his face, you'd be like, see, I'm right with you, Rick. So, OG, do you have, post game wrap up? Anything?
Yeah. We were talking about, players going from one level to the other and then having to face some adversity and, hit a wall. And what are you going to do? You're going to keep pushing or you're going to wilt. And I always say, play to your strengths while working on your weaknesses. So, when you're under the lights, play to your strengths. Do what you know you can do well and you can be consistent with. And then when the lights are off and you're by yourself, that's when you work on your weaknesses.
Cash that one in, early deposits. Here we go for me. To add on to that, you can put these together. Focus on the purpose. Plans change all the time, but the purpose remains the same. So as always, BTG Nation, Hoop Mountain Dubai, hoopmountain.ae. Come check us out. We're keeping it moving and grooving. Thank you guys for your support. Lee, thank you for the music. Let's keep growing. As always, keep it real, keep it simple, and keep going.
Player and coach, the brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.